Yes.
Still some more people coming on. Hi, Lewis. Hi, Sam. Hi, Penny. Okay, guys, I think we'll get started. I'm just conscious of time and what we want to show you anyway. So firstly, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Today's session is about our new travel booking system called TripActions. So we've introduced it, it's gone live today, so everyone should have had an email into their inbox this morning explaining about it. But this session really is for you guys as travellers and people who go between the offices or are sent out on work trips, and how to book your travel from now on. And this replaces the bookings@paymentsense.com email that we used to use. So we're handing over the reins to you guys to take full ownership of this and book your own travel and your agendas while you're away. And we're joined today by Britt from TripActions, who is going to take us through a bit of a demo of the platform and how to use it. If you haven't already logged in, I advise you do it after this session as well, just to check everything's all right and working for you. And then she'll be doing a Q&A. So if there's any questions you guys have, feel free to ask them at the end. We'll also record this session and we'll upload it onto the terminal later on today as well for anyone that does miss it in your teams. So just let them know as well. All right, over to you, Britt.
Great, thank you so much, Sheila. Hi everyone, welcome, and thank you so much for logging on today. I am happy to show you the new travel booking system with TripActions, and as Sheila said, it was really putting the control back in your hands so that you have the flexibility to create a trip proposal, request permission to book a trip, and then also book whatever it is that you need once you have that approval obtained. So I'm going to show you how to use the system. It should be very intuitive, but if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. There are a few nuances and things I'd like to show you, but otherwise, I think it's a very user-friendly website and app actually that you're able to download. So I'll start with sharing my screen and walking you through how to set up your profile. So I will do that right now. Perfect. Okay, so great. So we're logged in. I'm logged in as an admin for TripActions. You'll see on the top left, TripActions loves Paymentsense. So we are logged in as you and ready to go and begin setting up our profile and start the request to make a booking. One of the things I really love about TripActions, there are a lot of things, we're super tech forward and we're constantly improving our platform, but we are really built for all of the users. So what I'm going to show you today is what you will see as the traveler, but there are also dashboards dedicated to your managers, to site administrators that need to update the policy and everything that goes along with managing a travel program successfully. So if there are ever improvements or things you think we could do better, please let us know. We're changing every day and very focused on making the experience better for everyone all the time. So once you log in, you should receive an email to sign up. And if not, you can always visit tripactions.com/signup and create your profile that way. It will have you confirm with your Paymentsense email that you are, of course, actually an employee, and you'll be able to log in that way. So once you're in, you can set up your profile and you can just hit profile as well if you ever need to make any edits. And so you can see here logged in as the site admin. We have a couple of columns on the left-hand side where you can change your preferences. So going into contact info is just really basic. What do you want the site to address you as? So my name is Britt. Well, it's actually Brittany, but I go by Britt. And so my profile in my display says Britt Johnson with my work email and phone number. If there's assistant info, you can enter that as well. But in my traveler info, I actually do have to put Brittany because this is what actually lets me on the airplane. This is the name that matches my government issued photo ID. So definitely want to make sure that this is accurate. So it'll ask for your legal first name and last name, your gender, and your birth date. And then if you do identify as non-binary, the airline does request a processing gender. So that's in there for you as well. If you have a US pre-check number, you can enter it, and then also some different preferences. So if you are like me and you like always prefer to sit in the aisle, or maybe you always prefer the window, you can enter that preference here. And in the event that you ever forget to update that on your ticket, we'll try to default to that setting. So we have a meal type and special assistance as well, if you prefer to enter those. Also, passport information is here, and that way you don't need to enter it again. And then you can have a second passport if you need. We'll discard the changes. So going into payment methods, you can add a personal card, and there's also a corporate payment method on file, which you'll see. It's called Bill Back. It's centralized billing and bill back, to be precise. And what this does is it allows everything to be paid through TripActions and then billed back to Paymentsense. So this really makes the booking experience easy for you, because you don't have to be responsible for anything when you're making the booking financially. So that means any flights that you book are paid up front through bill back. Any hotels are also paid the same way, trains. The only nuance is cars, where most car companies request that your driver's license actually matches your method of payment. And so they will require a personal credit card. But otherwise, everything else can be paid ahead of time through bill back. And so you're not responsible for anything except maybe hotel incidentals when you are actually traveling. If you want to add a personal card, you can. One of the great features about TripActions is that you can actually book personal travel through TripActions as well. And the personal travel still allows you access to our 24/7 support and all the other things that I'll tell you about that go along with booking through TripActions. If you ever have any unused tickets or credits through airlines, maybe for canceled flights, you'll see those show up right here. Loyalty program information is really important. Definitely ensure that you're entering this. So I am located in our TripActions Amsterdam office, and so I tend to fly KLM, which is called Flying Blue, and so that information is already there in there for me. So every time I make a booking with Air France, KLM, or any of their affiliated airlines, that is automatically going to be applied so that I can continue getting points. We have this for lodging as well, and so as you continue to book on TripActions, we want your experience to get faster and easier. And so our average booking time is actually 6 minutes. And with that, that is because we're using AI to really remember your preferences. So where have you booked before? Where have your colleagues booked before? And also, what rewards and loyalty do you have that maybe you want to see those hotels and those flights come to the top of the list, so that you don't have to search too long for them if we already know that they are your preference. Excuse me, sorry, I think there's someone at my door. It's the working from home. So you can also add a train and rail card or any car rental loyalty that you have as well. We also track carbon footprint. So as you continue to travel, you'll see your air mileage and train mileage add up, so you have a better understanding of how that's impacted you. Sorry about that. We also have a calendar and email sync. So this is really important to allow the calendar access so that you have your flights and any trips already available on your calendar. It makes it really easy to manage and then transparent for people in the company as well to see where you are. Notifications are really important. So you can decide how you want to be notified, whether it's through email, mobile push, or SMS. This really breaks it down in a lot of different ways. So expense reminders, flight check-in reminders, upcoming trip reminders, anything like that you can set here in the notifications. And then other settings is just different integrations if they're applicable for you. The calendar settings should default to whatever your browser is using. If you have any issues with it, there should be a link in the integrations for you as well, but just let us know if you have any issues. And that is your profile. So hopefully pretty straightforward information for you. Any questions on that before we move on? Perfect. Then I'm just going to redirect. Just allow me a moment. And I'm going to actually log in as Sheila so I can show you how to actually make a booking. Great. So now you can see logged in as Sheila and the different options that she has available. This is the home screen that everyone will see, most people will see, and you can make a new booking and you can also look at your trips. If you ever need help, you can contact our support team. Another really amazing feature that we have at TripActions is our 24/7, 365 travel support team. They are TripActions employees. We do not outsource them. They're located in our Sydney office, Amsterdam, London, and throughout the United States. You can contact them via email. You can also call them as well if you'd like. So there are a couple different phone numbers listed. And then you have the option to chat. Chat is what I would really recommend. When you log in to set up your profile, it will ask if you want to download the mobile app. If you're traveling, I absolutely recommend it because you have access to our chat feature on the application as well. And so I know for me personally, I've been stuck at the airport with a canceled flight. And the first thing I did was chat into our support team and say, hey, what can I do about this? I don't want to be in, in Frankfurt, well, I like Frankfurt, but I didn't want to be stuck in Frankfurt longer than I had to, considering I was anxious to get home. So they were able to immediately rebook my flight, get me a hotel close to the airport, get me really everything I needed without having to wait in line at the airport, and just really make it a seamless experience for me. So they also are there to help if you have any issues while you're booking. So maybe you are trying to change a flight or you need to add a bag or there's just something that you're not sure about. They answer within 60 seconds. That's what we have them do is that 1 minute response time. So they should respond to you really quickly and be able to help with any issues. So you're free to just type in, and if you ever receive an error message, they will likely ping you as well and say, hey, I see that maybe you're having an issue with this, like how can I help? So never hesitate to reach out to them. They are free and available to you 24/7. So when you are logging in, you'll have this trip proposal request, and it's very basic. You can request for yourself or on behalf of another individual. So you can add a guest. So maybe we just type in Chris and we can see different employees for Paymentsense that are coming up with that name. And you can add them there to say, hey, I'm now requesting this trip for me and for Chris. You'll have to give your trip a name and then you'll type in the trip reason. So, visiting, ABC client, they've requested this meeting for this purpose. So 250 characters, plenty of space to describe what you'd like to do. That is actually how you create the request, and that gets sent to your manager. Once your manager approves the request, you'll see it very clearly listed up here at the top, and it says, hey, your trip has been approved. Go ahead and book. So when you request a trip, you will have to request the specific city and flight route information, and I can show you how to do that when you search for travel. So, so if you are requesting a hotel in Amsterdam, but the specifics actually change and now you have to stay somewhere else in Holland, that would actually be a new trip proposal. So you would actually have to create that new trip and say, hey, the city has changed, still the same client, I'm staying in a different place, but now I want to book. So when you go to book, it's actually going to direct you to, your trip proposal was for Amsterdam, it's going to direct you to hotels in Amsterdam if that's what you have requested. So it should be very easy and smart, and have everything you need already, that you have requested and that has already been approved. So I know that before I would request a trip, I would always like to see what my options are in terms of days and times and airlines and what that looks like. You're also going to get a tentative price with this as well to see what the trip is going to cost. And that's what your manager will get also, in addition to the reason for needing the trip, an estimation. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and search quickly for some flights, and maybe we type in London. We can say London all airports, or maybe you know that you like London City because it's, you know, just in the center and it's much easier. I can type in LCY, and that's going to give me just London City airports. I can also search nearby if I prefer to do that. And then maybe going to Amsterdam. We'll just type in AMS, there's only one airport. So you choose your days. We'll say maybe the 15th to the 17th. Look at who's traveling. So Sheila is the traveler. No other colleagues traveling with me. This is just a round trip. This is not a personal trip, so I won't tick that box. If it's your first trip, I definitely recommend looking at your company travel policy. This will always be displayed for you. So we have in here flights, hotels, and car policies. If you have a flight that's under 4 hours or over 4 hours, there are different permissions to fly. So under 4 hours, your max fare is going to be economy. Over 4 is going to be premium economy. And then you're going to see what's considered out of policy. So another feature that we have on TripActions is actually using a dynamic pricing program. And we are pulling in inventory directly from hotels and airlines, but also third-party consumer sites to really give you a marketplace of options. We want to give you the most options available so that you don't feel like you have to book outside of TripActions. If you're booking outside of TripActions, it can create it can diminish the advantages of being with us, because then it's not in our reporting. It creates a separate space for your finance teams and HR teams to look for different information. So having everything really booked in TripActions is the ideal way to go, unless there's something that we don't have or you don't see, in which case I think we'd want to know about. So with our pricing, we pull in what we consider, what we're seeing as the fare rate, and that is for flights and for hotels. And anything above that rate is going to be considered out of policy, and it's going to be marked with this little orange shield. So that will be evident when we actually make the search. So I'll go ahead and hit search. And we are pulling information from all of the different airlines. So every airline is very different in the way that they determine cabin class and, the seating assignments and all those kinds of things. So what we've done is we've created just sort of a base fare, standard, enhanced, premium, and luxury. So we're not using always the terms of like economy, premium, economy. So this just gives you a little bit more information about what those are. And you'll see that these flights are considered in policy, whereas these luxury flights are considered out of policy. If you hover over, you can see that it's because it's above the price policy. So if I click on this, you'll see KLM came up first because that's already in the preferences and it's Amsterdam. So you can see more information about what this base or light fare includes. You can see the cabin class. If it's refundable, what the fee changes, and then you can also hit compare fares. So this is a really awesome feature to show what is available to you if you wanted to maybe book the 184 versus the 144. What is included in that? Do I get a free bag? Is it worth it to go up a little bit? Is it refundable? This advanced change means the fare, the cost that it is to change the ticket if you need to make a change. So maybe the light is good for you. That's exactly what you need. You can hit select, and then it's going to pull up your options to return home. So it's going to default to KLM, since KLM is what we chose on the way out. However, you do not have to fly with KLM just because you flew there with them. So if we scroll down, we'll see a number of different options, including British Airways. You can always filter your options as well. So if you have a flight number or you know exactly what you want, you can type in that information. You can also search by time, you can search by the airlines, you can search by price, and then you can also see, only fares that are in policy. And then this gives you a little breakdown of what the policy actually is. So again, clicking on this. So what we've also tried to do in light of COVID is give more information with flights and hotels about what everyone is doing, what providers are doing to help keep you safe. And so we have these features in here with the 0 change fees for all tickets, which KLM is doing, which is really nice. They clean and disinfect. So you can scroll through and see, what most of the carriers are doing to ensure that it's a good travel experience for you. So if we hit select, it means we are choosing this route. And we can review all of our details, putting in a trip purpose, looking at the dates. Another really great feature is this COVID-19 impact. So if you are traveling from England to the Netherlands, let's say, you can see COVID info for Holland. And it's going to give you options actually for both parts of your trip. So we are looking at the reproduction rate, and anything over 1 is considered not so great. The reproduction rate is the number of people that will spread, that will become infected with the virus, essentially, if there is 1 person infected. So we want the number to be as close to 0 as possible. In most places, it's hovering close to 1, but you can see what the rating is for the place that you're traveling, if you're concerned, and how actually it's also trending. I think the trending is really nice to see. So we can review that all this information is correct. You can see that billback is the payment method and that the KLM has already been added. You can select your seats, the airline's asking for contact information, so you can add that as well. And so once your trip is approved, it'll actually allow you to book this trip. Right now, we don't have an approved trip, so we will just create a trip proposal, and you just check that box and then, or click this rather, and then once it's approved, you're able to actually make the booking. So I will, are there any questions about flights before I jump into hotels? No? Okay, pretty good, easy, great. So with hotels, we can search by location or we can search by office. We do use Google Maps, so really anything you type in should be accepted. Google sort of has everything. So we can type in a city. If you were looking for a hotel in Manchester, we can type in Manchester, or we can search by company office and look there. So I know that, personally, whenever I visit our London office, I always want to stay as close to the office as possible so that I don't end up on the train for 45 minutes on accident. So, we have an interactive map you can use as well that will highlight where the office is and then get you as close to that location as possible, or the location that you type in here. So let's say we're going to Bristol. We just need 1 night, 22nd to the 23rd. We have the traveler listed there, and we can hit search. So right now what we're doing is we're searching all of our relationships, our partner relationships with hotels. We have a lot of negotiated rates that are only available through TripActions. And then we also are searching directly with the hotels and what they're providing to travel management companies. And we are looking at your third-party providers. So booking.com, Priceline, hotels.com, all of those sort of third-party sites that you're normally looking at to book, we're pulling in that inventory as well. So you can see that this hotel, for instance, is part of our lodging collection, and it's an exclusive rate for TripActions. And you'll see the different options listed as you scroll down, and the prices listed. This is just one night, so it's listed as per night, but it will show up as the total if you have several days selected. So you can make a number of different preference choices. You can type in the hotel name if you know that you always like to stay at a Hilton. It's going to show you just only Hilton. You can look at your loyalty. So if you know that you have, Hilton Honors, for instance, and you just want to see rooms with Hilton Honors, you can do that. You can also look at your saved list, and you can also heart the hotels so that you can save those for later. You can look by distance, price, ratings, what's in policy and out of policy, and then you can also find different preferences here. So maybe you want to ensure it has a fitness center, you can tick that box and it's going to adjust the preferences. If you don't want to see the map, you just simply untoggle this. So if we click on, so looking at the hotels, you'll see the price to beat to save the company money is £85. And again, this price is pulled in from all of the different sites that we're searching to find the best price and to say this is what, on these select dates in this select city, what the average price should be. And so booking below this number is great because it helps to save the company money, and it's going to adjust depending on where you are. So San Francisco, for instance, can be anywhere from $240 US a night to $500 a night, depending on what's going on in town. And our system is really built to accommodate for that sort of variability in travel, because we know there's a lot of it in travel. So if we hit select, it's going to open a new tab. And it will tell us all about the hotel. So you can see here there are 61 photos. So plenty of photos to kind of get a feel of what the hotel looks like and where you'll be staying. You can see where it is on the map, check in, check out. You can read more about the actual hotel and some reviews. You can also see the hygiene practices and details of the amenities. If you want to only look at free cancellation, you can tick the box or narrow your preferences here. So there are 3 different ways to pay at hotels. There's pay at hotel, there is prepay, so you can see here, and then there's also deposit required. And so the company bill back will actually pay for all of these different types of hotel rooms. It's just when you hit prepay, the bill back method is automatically taken care of. It automatically takes care of the room price. When you select a pay at hotel rate, what we actually do is we send an authorization to the hotel prior to your arrival to say, hey, this is the payment information. It's going to be required when the guest arrives at the hotel. However, here is everything available that you need. So we actually do that twice before you arrive at the hotel. In the event that you get to the hotel and they ask for a credit card for anything other than incidentals, and they say, hey, the room hasn't been paid, so we need a credit card for that total. You actually have in your profile, and you can access it through the app, you have the ability to resend a payment authorization form, and you have access to the bill back virtual credit card. So I always encourage you to use those options rather than putting your own card first. The hotel should have everything that they need once you arrive, but in the event that they don't, you have that available in your trips, and I'll show you how to access that. That's available 24 hours prior to your arrival date. That will be there, for you to access. And then our support team is always available if there's something else you need that's not there. So prepay is always going to be the easiest option. That way, everything is handled at the time of booking. You can also see where we're getting the inventory. So this is a direct rate, meaning we're getting it directly from the hotel. This is coming from hotels.com. You might see booking.com. Yep, there's booking right there. So it gives you basically everything you need to know about where these are coming from, more pictures, all of that. So if we hit select, let's say, So when we hit select, it's going to take us again to this checkout screen. And we'll have to enter the trip purpose. We'll review the details. We know who the guest is. We can also look at the policy notes and free cancellation. Billback is going to be the payment method. And then it gives some payment instructions. And then you understand that you'll be asked for a credit card at check-in for incidentals. So again, mini bar, room service, any of those things that you might use, you would need to cover that on your own, but otherwise the room itself will be paid for. So since this isn't an approved trip, you aren't allowed to actually book, but then it will direct you to create a trip proposal once you feel confident that, you know, this is the route you would like to take. So you can just hit create trip proposal. So what I want to show you now is actually what your trips look like. It is a good idea to combine several, like anything that you would consider one trip into one trip. And I'll show you what that looks like by visiting my profile. Any questions about hotels while I'm searching for this?
Hi, Brooke. Just a query from me. Is there an opportunity to add an allowance, so for an evening meal allowance, etc., to the site at all?
Meal allowance, not right now from a finance perspective. We have some options, but that would be something we definitely discuss with Sheila and the other members of the HR team.
Yeah, I can take that one. Yeah, we've got, for that very reason, David, we've got preferential rates with a few of the hotels near some of the offices, which actually has that as part of the agreement. So they will come up on there. I think Britt and Sarah are working on putting those onto the system.
Smashing. Thank you very much.
So if we go into my trips page, you can see I'm taking a number of personal trips. I think I'm just excited after, well, not really after COVID, to get out of town if I can at all. But you can view past trips, also canceled trips, and anything upcoming. So I always book my personal travel through TripActions if I can, because again, I like using the app. I like knowing that I have the 24/7 support, and then everything is condensed into one. So if I say, let's go back to my trip from March, where I have several things under this trip. So you can see here, I had a hotel in Berlin, and then a flight, another hotel, and then another flight, and then the hotel again. So lots of different things condensed under one trip. Essentially, if I'm not coming home, then I consider it all one trip, and that really helps me organize. It helps from a reporting perspective for your company, but also, for me as an individual, for tax purposes, really just seeing everything all in one place, and then I can give it a name as well. You can always download an invoice. I can send this to expense. I can share the trip with people that I want to, if I want to email them that information, and then I can get a PDF of my itinerary. I can see how everything was paid, where it was sourced, what the cancellation policy is, and then if I ever have questions, I can chat into support. So if we go back to all of my trips and look at what is upcoming, we do have a self change feature. This is available for many airlines, not all airlines, but it should be available for all hotels. And so for this flight, for instance, you can see that I have this self-service change option where I can just, I don't have to talk to anyone in support. I can actually do it myself just by clicking this. And it asks me what I'd like to change, airport time, and then it's going to give me all the new options and the new price, which is just really awesome and easy. And then this also exists for the hotels, as I said. So here you can see all of the different details of the trip. When you are checking into your hotel and you have that pay at hotel rate, you will see the option right here that shows up and says virtual credit card. And so if you click on that, you're able to, again, resend the authorization directly to the hotel, and then also view the front and the back of that virtual credit card so that you can show it to the hotel as the payment method. So yeah, everything should be in here that you need. You can see loyalty is applied, all the booking information. Yeah, very, very easy and concise, hopefully. And then if you ever need to add to a trip, you can do that by logging into your trips and actually adding to it. So if I see here, add a hotel, I don't have a hotel booked yet, I can just simply do that, and then it'll redirect me to the booking page and it'll automatically add it trip to Bari. And then if I am booking something around the same dates of what I actually already have booked, it's going to prompt to say, hey, you already have a trip booked. Do you want to add this to the trip, or do you want to create a new trip? And then you can decide what you'd like to do from there. You can also merge your trips if you book everything separately. If you go into your trips, you have the option just to merge them together as well. So lots of different ways to make it work for you, however you organize and what works. So here's the merge trip option as well. So this is all stored. If at any point throughout the year you need past information, it's all available here for you. So that is an overview of hotels and flights, and the trips page and profile. Are there any questions I can answer right now, or anything else I can show? We also have full rail offerings as well throughout the US, UK, and Germany. We are adding new rail providers. Actually, we're in talks with SNCF right now to have that inventory available to you. But if you need to book anything within the UK, or to a route that you would normally travel, so maybe London to Paris, for instance, you can book that through us as well, just by requesting the trip proposal and then making that booking. But otherwise, are there questions or concerns I can answer right now? Or Sheila, anything to add that I may be missed?
No, I think that's everything. The only thing I do want to sort of mention is this is also available on an app, guys, as well. So not just on the desktop. So if you download the app onto your phone, you can do it all through your phone, and it's super quick and easy. So yeah, download it today. That's everything. If there's no other questions.
Great. Well, then I definitely recommend adding your loyalty and the app, just to ensure that it's a really smooth experience, and setting up your profile as soon as you can. If you have questions, you can always reach out to me or anyone on your team. And otherwise, safe travels, and let us know if there's anything that you're not seeing that you think should be there.
Thanks, Britt.
Great, thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.